Probably the worst time of my life, honestly. What's going on, guys? This is Dubem here. As you guys know, I applied to medical school recently, and I also just took my MCAT. Got a 505. Alrighty, this video is about how to get over 500 / my MCAT journey. I'm gonna start with the first 2 times that I was studying. First time, I studied from June to about mid-September. I didn't do any content review. I went straight to UWorld. At this time, I was very raw. I never really was a good test taker growing up, guys, for context. Didn't really read growing up. I was already kind of coming in at I don't want to say at disadvantage, but less advantaged than other people that grew up reading. And I'm not blaming anyone, okay? I'm just giving you my circumstances, okay? I studied for about 3 months, was doing UWorld, and then of course transitioned over to MC. And I think that time I didn't really get a good feel for the exam. I don't think that 3.5 months was nearly enough time. So found myself scoring 490s-ish, of 497, 490, I think 490, yeah, 497, 495, 494 type around range in my FLs for MC. I remember being on the phone with my mentor, and he told me, hey, I don't think that you should score this exam. You should probably hit void because you're not really scoring in a range that's competitive. And I should have took that advice, but I didn't. So I scored 498 that time. Was not really surprised. It was the highest score I've ever scored. It was higher than all my FLs. Not the score that's competitive for a lot of schools. So took it again in May of the following year, so this is May 2025. I started studying in January after an amazing trip to Thailand, I'll say. I went to Thailand for 2 weeks, and then I lived in another country for 2 months. I can get into these stories at every video if you guys want. But came back from Thailand and studied January to May. And this time around felt a bit different. I went in wanting to do content review, because I didn't do it the last time. So this time, I did some content review, then transitioned over to UWorld. Honestly, I should have finished UWorld before I took this exam. I think I got about 40% through UWorld, which is not enough. And I think this time I was focusing too much on the content as opposed to the way that they were asking the questions. And also, I was spending a lot of time on cars. And cars, this whole thing, cars was cars for me, okay? I never was able to figure it out, okay? As you saw from the other video, I got a 123 on it. That was my score throughout the whole time, my range, and I did a lot of things to try to improve, and it just didn't work out for me, okay? And I was advised to just move on from it and just focus on the other 3 because I'd get a higher ROI focusing on the other 3. So that's what I didn't do. I was scoring FLs about 504-ish range. I got a 506 on one of them, I remember, and I was coming in. So I came in with some level of confidence, but about a month before my exam, some stuff happened in my personal life, and the exam didn't go the way I wanted it to go, the official exam, okay? So scoring 504, 506 range, and I got a 496. And I was extremely demoralized, quite frankly. Number one, because it's not a competitive score, and it was lower than my first exam score. And it just wasn't anywhere in the range where I was scoring at all. So that was really disappointing for me. And I still ended up applying, and I didn't get any nods this past cycle, so that was really tough for me. Just remember it being a very, very tough few months after that. Probably the worst time of my life, honestly. That's just what it was, With the 505 I got, let's give you a brief rundown before I get into the nitty-gritty. I started studying in November, and then I took it June. Within that time period, there was about a month to 2 months where I was just super burnt out and I couldn't study. So I would say I studied for about 5.5 months. That was my 3rd time taking it. I was working full time. My hours were 10 to 6:30. I'd wake up at 5, try to get to work at 6, study until 10. Between there, I'd try to go to the gym. Yeah, that's pretty much what I did for about 6 months there, and it was not easy, okay? Thursdays would be my day off from studying. I would still go to work though. And every other day I would try to study. Saturdays, I would take my FL. Sundays, review the FL as you've seen from the other vlogs. And of course, this is a big theme about studying for a big exam like this. Not every day that you try to study, you're gonna have it. Some days I just didn't have it. Some days I just studied for maybe 30 minutes or an hour in the morning and then went to the gym and that's all I could do. Some days I had more energy than others, okay? That's just the name of the game. Unfortunately, I know, that may be discouraging, but sometimes you have to give yourself a break. And that was a big theme of this last time that I was studying. I gave myself those breaks. I tried to be as nice as I could to myself. Even though it was hard, I know we're all pre-meds here. We're trying to do as much as we can, but more isn't always more. I'll say that again. More is not always more, okay? that November, which is November of 2025, started studying. Yeah, about 5.5 months. And I know what you're wondering, what did I do different this time? This is not in any particular order. Number one, I focused mostly on high yield stuff because I knew that I was working full time. So I didn't have time to try to learn everything, okay? The things that kept popping up that I was missing, I made sure to make cards on those, closed deletion cards. I made closed deletion cards using ChatGPT. Shout out to AI, shout out to ChatGPT. I wish I would have used it more for the first 2 exams, because that would have helped me so much and would have helped me save so much time making cards. Because all you do is say, hey, ChatGPT, can you make a closed deletion card for this information? And then it puts it in there for you. You know what I mean? So, and I used UWorld's information to make those cards. I didn't have ChatGPT make my cards. I did sometimes, because I know ChatGPT isn't right every time. So you have to keep that in mind, okay? ChatGPT is not right all the time, but some things I use it. Most of the time I try to use UWorld's definitions to make my cards. And then of course, I was doing Anki almost every day, if not every day. Psych Soc. Initially, I would suspend cards from miles down, but while doing that, I was also doing UWorld questions. So the questions that I'd miss from UWorld, I would make closed deletion cards for those specific definitions. So there got to a point where the cards I was making from UWorld significantly outnumbered the cards that I was suspending daily. So I ended up just doing the cards that I made where I was getting things wrong. I was doing Anki on the high yield stuff I was missing. If it was negligible information, I wouldn't even make another card on it because I had limited time. Like I said before, I'm working 10 to 6:30, so I don't have too much time to be wasting time on other things. And then I was doing cards every day, and then I kind of stopped because my ROI wasn't really ROIing, honestly. Because like I said, I only had about 4 hours a day to study. So kind of got to pick and choose your battles here, unfortunately. And another thing that saved me, apart from AI, number 2, was using a spreadsheet to track my wrongs. I can link the spreadsheet. Let me know if I forget. Okay, I'll link it. And essentially, one of the topics being, why did you get the question wrong? Your strategy for next time. Was it a content thing, or it was something like that? Okay, I'll put it up here for you. That helped tremendously find the patterns and why I was missing my question. One of the more important things is to find the reason why you're missing your questions, because this in itself will help you improve your score 10 points and above. Okay, that's the whole point in studying, is to find the reasoning why you're missing your questions. All right, I can confidently say if I wasn't using the spreadsheet to track the patterns in the way I was missing questions, I don't think my score would have improved as much as it did. And another thing that saved me this go around was getting the Jack Weston Chrome extension for AAMC. I didn't use that the first 2 times. I didn't even know about it until one of my friends told me about it. Shout out to Leo, okay? Shout out to that guy. Another thing I was doing that I didn't do those first 2 times was finding other people that were studying for the exam to study with. It was extremely transformative for me. One thing I realized in college was that I'm a group studier. I like studying with others. Of course, I like my own time to study by myself, right? But studying with other people really helps me. Having other people to talk about the information with kind of helped me remember. I wish I kind of stuck to the things that I learned about myself in college to do well on the MCAT. I think is another big regret. But of course, I'll carry those things into medical school. And honestly, as much as this exam challenged me and made me feel like I was incapable, this was honestly the greatest accomplishment in my life, truthfully. I was down bad for 2 years with this thing, man. To finally get a score that I'm comfortable with was probably one of the greatest feelings in my life, if not the greatest, honestly. And I'll say this exam made me far more eloquent. I feel myself being a different person than the person I was before. I talk differently. I use different words now because, like I said, I didn't really grow up reading. Right? I speak differently. When people ask me questions, I understand them differently now. I'm almost obsessed with English and using precise language. It's funny, because the exam trains you to think that way. That thinking kind of bleeds into other things in your life. And I can have a conversation with any that was a sociology major. I can hang with them. I can hang with the psych majors. I can hang with. As you know, I have a bio major and I have a minor in chemistry, so I was already hanging out with those guys. And the English majors, I can hang with them a little bit. Reason through the world differently now, it's funny. In biology, we're taught structure dictates function. In sociology, one of the main things I took away was that environment dictates who you become. So interesting because you kind of learn about, socioeconomic status, depending on where you come from, that's kind of what molds. This is intuitive information, right? But there's just something about learning it over and over again in different ways that for me changed the way I thought. And then psychology, already reading psychology books. So I already kind of had that psychological perspective a little bit, but studying for this thing really helped solidify it. And I would say the term that did it for me was fundamental attribution error. Comment down below what that means. Quiz question. So yeah, overall, I'm really grateful for what the exam did for me. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Okay, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you.